In a separate lesson, I focused on developing programs at home to change behaviors and to address problems the child is having at school. The tool I discussed was home-based reinforcement, which is devised in conjunction with the teacher. In fact, in most cases, home-based reinforcement is used because the school or a particular teacher has contacted you to convey the child is having a problem in the classroom. This lesson focuses on skills and competencies that are needed to be successful in school, but do not directly involve the teacher or the school at all. There are all sorts of early readiness products like DVD sets that claim children will become smarter and do better in school and in life if the parent would just buy and use these materials. These products are rarely researched, and the ones that have been studied do not really accomplish much in the way of academics or intelligence. Much of this was based on marketing hype, very much like fad diets. In contrast, what we have learned from scientific research is that many of the basic experiences parents provide can really help children become a better student. For example, providing a stimulating environment, reading to one's child and stopping to discuss what you are reading, rereading the same books over again, and when possible, have your child read to you or at least tell you what's going on in the pictures or the stories. All of that can really help how well the child will do at school. If you'd like something a bit more systematic that would improve school performance, here is a program that will be very useful. For this home-based program, we focus on school-relevant behavior, but do not need the cooperation of the school. In fact, I suggest you do this program when school is not in session, during the summer months, or even during extended school breaks. To illustrate the use of this program, let me focus on reading and comprehension, because they are often difficult for children and they are fundamental to most subjects at all levels of schooling. But this is not specifically a reading program. It can be applied broadly, but reading provides a nice illustration. The program is parent and child friendly and is designed to improve reading and comprehension in ways that are not onerous and are not just more of the homework assignments from school. The program utilizes a number of tools we have discussed in other lessons, but it also has some novel and somewhat unexpected features, so it is not simply a point program for reading. Here are key features needed to implement the program. First, ask your child what topics are of great interest. This could be anything and does not have to be part of the usual school subjects. Does your child like sports, birds, flowers, penguins, volcanoes, rockets? You get the idea. In early schooling, the child has little choice on what to study, so it is important to give them the opportunity to choose a topic for this program. If the child has trouble finding a topic, you can use a magazine as a starting point because the entries or stories in a magazine often are brief, light, and more fun than most school textbooks. You could even go to a magazine store and have your child look around and find topics that way. Any source material will be sufficient as long as it has reading content at your child's reading level and, of course, does not include topics you disapprove of. The second step is to develop a point program where points are given for talking about anything your child has read in the magazine. We are not forcing the child to spend time reading or sitting at a desk. Rather, we are focusing on the act of talking about what was read. Because we are focusing on reading, we do not want the child just to report on the photos or pictures that there might be. Let the child know that if she shares what she read to teach the family about something, she could earn some points, let's say 5 points. Individualize this, of course, so the child tells about one thing that might earn 5 points, tells about 2 things that might earn a little bit more. Remember to praise, which turns out to be much more important than the points. The points will help you track what you are doing and allow the child to save some points and exchange them for rewards. Since this is a point program, be sure you have backup rewards and a chart to monitor points earned and points spent. The behavior that earns points is talking about what was read. The talking on the part of the child could be relatively brief, maybe only a minute or 2, nothing extensive. We do not want this to be too demanding, and we want to be very careful about that. Keep this light and without pressure. Perhaps at the dinner table, when the child is talking, make sure others are listening, and when the child is finished, praise the special praise we discussed in another video. After dinner, at bedtime, or the next day, mention again how great it was to learn about a given topic. In fact, one of the best ways to learn is to teach others. In this case, you are being taught by your child. Children are rarely given a position where they can teach or be in control, and this would be an excellent opportunity to teach you something. What makes this skill program so special is that we have made this much more interesting, casual, and fun than what goes on in the typical school setting. First, the child chooses a topic, and that can change if the child wants to. Second, there's no written assignment or homework. In place of written homework, comprehension is covered by having the child chat informally about what was read at some convenient time where you and others can listen. On any evening, one can earn points if she wishes by talking about what she read, but she does not have to do this. This is also an excellent opportunity for you to shape behavior. You can praise and provide points for partial completion. Maybe she only told you the theme of a reading, but not much else. Make sure you give positive attention for any effort at all. Again, the tone of this program is very important. In the summer, the child may have many activities, such as going to camp or even summer school. Make this low-key, and if you accidentally slip into more than 1 or 2 reminders a week or nagging, stop. The program will become onerous if you nag, and that's the last thing we want here. If your child would like you to read with them or help them, that is fine. And it would be great if you volunteered casually by saying something like, "Let me know if you want me to sit with you while you read your magazine." What are the benefits? Well, fostering reading and communication about what one has read are hugely important. You might not think this is relevant to school if the child is reading about baseball, soccer, or dancing. On the other hand, many fascinating science and technology topics would be great, such as space travel or robotics, if you felt that was a better topic. The content doesn't really matter too much because we are developing a process, not a product. But we want the child to be interested in the topic or at least willing to read a little bit about it. It is great if the child develops a new competency in the subject of interest, but the purpose is to develop skills and competencies in reading and comprehension. You do not want to create a high-pressure school environment with homework and deadlines and then demanding excellence along the way. The program takes away all of that pressure, yet develops very relevant skills that will help at school when the child does have homework assignments and does have to report on things. You can enhance the effectiveness of the program by modeling the behavior you want to instill in your children. You and any other adult in the home can model reporting on something that you have read, perhaps while you are at the dinner table. You could even create a routine in which everyone has a turn sharing something that they learned that day. Again, remove the pressure, so if someone misses, that's not a problem or a failure. I have selected reading because it is such a crucial skill, but you get the broader point. You can work on arithmetic, science skills, as long as you give the child a choice, provide praise and points, model the behavior when you can, and keep the pressure low. Also, a point program is a good way to get this started, but that program can be dropped pretty quickly if things are going well, and you can just rely on your praise and modeling the behavior on your part. So let me close by noting that parents often want to know what they can do at home to give their child an advantage at school, to overcome academic problems, or to develop interests and competencies in a subject or topic. I suggest a low-key program in the summer that has the child read something that is an area of her interest and to receive points for talking about that at dinner or another time when the family convenes. Yet in all cases, keep the pressure out of this and make it so 1 or 2 nights a week the child can talk about something but doesn't really have to every night. I mention reading because it is needed for virtually all subjects, but the same type of program for math or science would be great too. Just have the child involved in selection of the topic and what to read, and of course you must approve. With the program I have noted, you can have greater influence on productive behaviors in ways that will be fun and more natural, and that will complement the usual homework assignments and tests at school.